When I was 11, I walked in on my father attempting to commit suicide while on drugs.
How do you think that impacted you moving forward?
I kind of lost my protector. I kind of lost my hero. Like towards the end of the 80s, my parents, they got addicted to crack cocaine and my life changed overnight.
What are you down for?
For murder, arson, and discharge of a firearm.
And how long is your sentence?
My sentence is 84 years, 8 months to life.
Just tell me about that day.
I get a call from another gang member. They're telling me, I found out who told on me. You know who it is. And they're like giving me this code language. And then I shoot her. If I'm gonna be here, I wanna be the guy that gets to tell people what to do. I wanna be the baddest dude on every yard I go to.
Between the lines.
Welcome back to Between the Lines.
Hopefully he meant that's the attitude he had at first. That's the attitude he had when he first entered prison. That if I'm going to be here, I want to be the baddest dude on every yard. I want to tell people what to do, because that sort of mindset, that sort of lifestyle on the yard where you are the shot caller is glorified and is also criticized. There are pros and cons to that on these violent maximum security yards in California. Welcome to another episode, everyone. Welcome to the Inside Story with me, Damian Porter. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. As you just heard, this individual here has 84 years. The headline is, he unalived a witness. Then one letter from his daughter broke him. One letter from his daughter broke him. But he unalived a witness. And as you just heard, got a call from a gang member saying, you know who it is that snitched. Take care of it. And he said, so I shot her. Took her out. Whoever this person was, perhaps we'll find out. And he received 84 years because of it.
I'm your host, Ivana Rojas, and today we're going Between the Lines with
Sadi Coleman.
Sadi Coleman. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Tell me a little about yourself. Where are you from and where did you grow up?
From Sacramento, California. I grew up primarily out there in Sacramento, but I did kind of bounce back and forth between my mother and father. So I lived a little bit in the central California area, Fresno, and also a little bit in like Los Angeles, Paso Robles. So moved around a little bit.
A little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
And what are you down for?
I am in prison for murder, arson, and discharge of a firearm.
And how long is your sentence?
My sentence is 84 years, 8 months to life.
84 years.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, tell me a little bit about your childhood.
So my childhood's like a lot of people in here. I had a lot of adverse childhood experiences. I had the experience of knowing my parents when they were really amazing. I had a dad that was like overly sensitive, where he would just like every day he would tell us, man, you guys are amazing. You guys can be anything. And so I learned how to play sports. I learned a lot of great things from him. I had a mom, still great. Very fun, like very just involved parents. And then I'm older. So like towards the end of the 80s, my parents, they got addicted to crack cocaine and my life changed overnight. So I went from having like these loving parents that was always home, always involved in like my life. And then it was, we were homeless, like just like out of nowhere. And as a kid, it's the weirdest thing because you don't see it until it happens. So I like come home and stuff is just gone and there's no explanation. And then, one day we're living in a van, we're sleeping on people's couches. So it's just like a kind of a whirlwind experience.
Yeah. And so how was that for you when you went from living in a home, with loving parents to like having drug addict parents and living in how did that affect you emotionally as a kid?
It had a big...
Well, I'm going to assume that it affected him negatively. Going from a home and loving good parents, doting parents, financially stable parents, and a financially stable household, to going to sleeping in your cars and sleeping on friends and neighbors and families' couches and living from pillar to post. And you don't know where you're going to lay your head at that night and where your meal is going to come from. This affects people. I'm not here to excuse whatever he is in here for, because I don't know the particulars of that other than what we are hearing now. And oftentimes we revert back to our childhood to explain our adult behavior. Sometimes there is a connection and sometimes there is not. This could explain, though, why he was led into gangs, why he ended up in gangs and being of a violent nature. But let's see.
It had a really big impact on me. Out of all my brothers and sisters, a lot of us, and they all look more similar to my mother, and I take after my father. I look just like him. And we had like some weird things happen that really changed my life. When I was 11, I walked in on my father attempting to commit suicide while on drugs. And in that moment, I remember, I don't remember everything that happened. I'm like 11 or 12 years old, but I jumped on my bike and I just leave and I'm just riding all day. And when I come back, my dad's gone. And so it's just me and my father, and I stay in the house for a few weeks by myself. And then my mom comes and gets me. And it's just like, where's my dad? And they don't say anything. They're just like, everyone doesn't talk about it. And I remember after that, I just always felt like a coward. Like, I always felt shame. And I always felt like, man, did my dad die? Like, what did I do? Why didn't I go get my mom? Why didn't I go get like an authority figure? It's like I just froze. And my brothers took it different. Like, all my siblings, they turned violent. They're older than me. So it was just like, it went from like, it just was like a crazy like living situation, having brothers now bullying you, because we all dealt with it different. And like the loss for me, I felt it was more because I'm the one who plays sports. I'm the one who liked to go to sporting events. And it was like me and my dad were always together. So now that he's gone, I think I felt it more. Like I felt like a hole in my heart. Like, you know, like, why would he abandon me? Why wouldn't he take me with him? And I always related it back to, I didn't get help when he needed help. I just left.
You blamed it on yourself since the start. And how old were you?
I was like 11 or 12.
Oh, wow. And so what do you think how do you think that impacted you moving forward?
Well, I know how it impacted me now. I'm a kid, so it really doesn't register that I kind of lost my protector. I kind of lost my hero. And
you never found out what happened with him?
Yeah, my dad came. So my parents are really great now. So we went through, my life went kind of, well, not kind of, my life went off track for me to end up here. But after it happened when my father left, he actually left to get clean. So my brothers and sisters got to grow up with the amazing dad I knew as a young person, but my life went completely different. So after I started getting bullied, I got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to come home. So I started staying at school more. I started playing sports, doing anything I could to not come home, because it's just violence, violence, violence. And so my grades started getting really good. And that caused me more problems, because now my mother, who we all live with, would say stuff like, oh, you should be like your brother. Why are you guys so stupid? And then now I'm getting beat up because I'm doing good in school. So I stopped doing bad in school so I wouldn't get beat up. And now I'm getting disciplined for not doing good in school. And then at a point, I just was like, I'd rather be on the streets than live with these people. And so,
no, that's not good. You'd rather be on the street than live with what he referred to as these people. These people are his mother, father, brothers, and sisters. You're trying to do right. You're trying to go to school. You're trying to get an education. But as we can see, he said he poured himself into his education. He poured himself into his schoolwork and stayed there doing extracurricular stuff at school in order to avoid going home, because it was so volatile there at home. You don't think that this will affect someone in their adulthood? It will. Something like this will. Again, not to excuse whatever his transgressions are as an adult, but a lot of this stuff is connected. The turmoil that we experienced in our childhood, it is connected. And to be afraid to even go home, maybe not necessarily afraid, but would rather be at school and playing ball or whatever than to be in the household with your family. Your mother and father, your brothers and sisters, not strangers, but your family who loves you. then there's a lot going on inside of that home.
So I just ran away. So about 13, last time I lived with my parents, last time I saw my brothers and any of them until I was 18.
Wow. Tell me about those 5 years from 13 to 18.
Weirdly, it was weird because the person I found myself around was just like the worst type of person. I was searching for acceptance. I was searching for a father figure. I was searching for anyone who would fill that hole in my heart. And I never talked about it because I grew up with that men don't cry, men don't talk, show emotion. So in our house, it was don't tell what's going on in our house. So I really never talked to people about it. So I would just deal with whatever I was going on inside. I would never express it. And I ended up going and living with some gang members. A guy, he was much older. He was already an adult. And what he would do is it was a lot of us who were homeless, and they called us community kids. So like the neighborhood took care of us. And so he's like, yeah, you guys could come over here. And we would always go over there. But to go in, he would want to do stuff to us. Like he would put cigarettes out on our arm. Then you can come in, you can eat, you could play the game. And it got to a point where it was like, you can go over here and get harmed, or you can sleep in the cold. And so that was kind of my life for a while. We would like go out and try to get money so we could turn on the dryer so we wouldn't be cold. And if it was too cold, then we would go over here and do this. And then once we start getting older, we're not crying, we're not like really scared. He just escalated. He started putting a spoon on the stove, and then he would burn us. And then he went to using an iron. And it's actually why my arms are discolored. Like all the skin had came off my arm. And
so he would just like abuse you guys?
Yeah.
For what reason?
So that we can now, I don't know what his reasons were, but that was like our admittance into his house. So
and he's like, you're allowed to come in, but let me hurt you guys before you come in.
That was that was it.
And that was better for you guys than living on the streets?
It was better than living on the streets. And it wasn't just that, it was also like the acceptance, like a lot of the negative things I started to do because they're gang members. It's like you feel like you have a family. And in a kid's mind, it's like
That's
you're being
crazy.
hurt, but okay, everyone's being hurt. Like we normalized it. I'm speaking for other people too, but from knowing them and from going through the experience, we normalized being harmed. Like it was like, that was just it. I don't even think I thought about it. Like, okay, you're being harmed. And so finally I get in trouble and I go to California Youth Authority. And
California Youth Authority. This is sad, man. This is emotional. I have to hold in my emotions. I mean, he's just going through it, speaking about it, not necessarily nonchalantly. I can see the emotion in him and on his face and in his heart when he's talking about this stuff, but shame on his enemy. Wow. Shame on that individual. Burning these children, first with cigarettes, progress all the way to an iron, disfigured him, discolored him in order to have admittance into the home. You had to first be burned. I'm going to first abuse you, torture you, harm you violently as a child. What kind of man is this? What is this? Sickness, man.
the youth authority is like one of the most horrible things that can happen to juveniles. It's just nonstop violence. It's worse than prison, in my estimation, because they had adults there at the time, and then they put kids with adults, and you're getting assaulted every day. And it's just like, you wake up, you know you're getting assaulted. Like, there's no question. But for me, I was like, I know I'm gonna eat today. So I was happy to be there.
Because you were homeless for so long that it was almost like a luxury to have food every day. What's it like to be homeless?
It's scary. It's just your life is filled with uncertainty. Like, no one wants to live with uncertainty and not knowing when you're gonna stay, not knowing where your meal is gonna come from, if you're gonna eat that day. It's just it's a chaotic way to live.
And why choose that over maybe going home and being harmed a little bit from bullying with your brothers?
Because I felt like I had a weird family loyalty. So being harmed by my brothers, I'm not gonna try to hurt my brothers. But you harm me and you're not a part of my family, I'll respond to that. And so being harmed by my brothers, they used to call it toughening me up. So that's one thing I do want to kind of clarify. Like, I don't think in their mind they took it the way that I took it. They would always say that, oh no, we're toughing you up. You can't be weak out here.
Yeah, it's tough love.
Yeah, and so when I'm living on the streets, it's different. Like, I am tough. Like, no one's gonna hurt me. And that's what I developed from being bullied. I'm like, the person who bullies other people, they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And so when I'm not at home, no one's bullying me. No one's doing anything to me. And now I've got this new family who I believe cares about me, who will support me and protect me when all this type of stuff is going on.
And tell me about the progress of violence in the gang when you were in those 5 years before you came.
More than anything, it was just, it's a progression.
Yeah.
So you start with frivolous stuff, that stealing candy, doing nonsense, and you don't understand when it snowballs. But for us, it was like, oh, you guys are little. We can send you guys through the window and come open the door. And for us, we're not even understanding that we're committing crimes. We're already living a criminal lifestyle, and we're starting to develop this this criminal way of thinking. Like, it's not a big deal. This crime is not a big deal. And it just continues to escalate. And you see people around you, and they're older, you look up to them, and it just continues to go and go and go until you start to be like that. You're doing it so much, it starts to become a part of you. And as a teenager, I'm in the youth authority. So once I go there, it's even at a different level, because in 1996, they kicked us all out. So all of us that are juveniles that had the type of number, I had an M number, they sent us from YA to prison. So now I'm a juvenile, and I'm walking on the main line. I'm in Tracy at 16 years old, about to turn 17, and I'm walking the prison line with grown men.
Oh my gosh, what was that like the first day when you went in there, prison?
Well, I'm going to assume that it was rather horrible, just like the question she asked about what was it like being homeless. Well, I'm going to assume that it's very lonely and dreadful. He chose that over being harmed. This is how vicious it was at his place of residence, where he was supposed to be being raised and nurtured and cared for. He was trying to stay away from that place and would choose the lonesome streets instead of his home with his family. So that says a lot. And then to hit Tracy, which is indeed a violent prison, and they did indeed take all of the individuals out from CYA, the California Youth Authority, because of the violence that was there, and sent them all to prison, as he just alluded to. But to hit the prison yard at 16 years old, 16. Good luck. That had to have been terrifying. That had to have been horrifying. Hitting a prison yard at 16 years old with all of these big, strong gangsters, militant individuals, grown men, old enough to be your father, some old enough to be your grandfather. And they are all no nonsense. You don't know what's going on. You don't know anything about politics. Barely know how to protect and defend yourself at 16 years old.
Scary. So before, so this is the thing. Before we came, the officers did everything they could to scare us. Oh, you're going to go in a cell with a guy named Bubba. He's going to be big. He's going to rape you. He's going to do this and this and that. And they told us this continually for about maybe like a 60-day period before we went. So we went with all this fear already, like, oh man, someone's going to try to do this to me and do that to me. And when I got there, you know, everyone was like so much bigger than the guys there. These guys were lifting all these weights. Everyone was big. It was a lot of gang stuff going on. So it was definitely like a scary experience. But what we kind of learned fast is getting beat up every day in YA, getting jumped on all the time. We were prepared for it. Mm-hmm. So it just like they welcome you in.
Yeah.
And it's the saddest thing about the gang life is it's all manipulation. It's a horrible lifestyle. But you truly believe when you're involved in it that these people care. And what they saw is, I just got 30 or 40 young kids that I can make go do bad stuff, and they're not going to question me. And
when you were in prison?
Yeah, when I got to prison. So that was it. Like, once we got there, you had all these older guys come. They're intimidating, they're big, and they welcome you.
Yeah.
And they make you feel like, oh man, I got even stronger family now.
Yeah, you got a team with you.
Yeah.
So tell me about your crimes. What was your first crime?
First crime was just I climbed, well, stealing candy.
That was the
Which
first
I
crime.
was about to bypass that because it was so normal, like just stealing food.
And you went to,
No, I went to jail twice. So what I'm in prison for now, and then why I went to jail for robbery.
okay.
So just a random person, we just ran up to him at a light rail station, give us your money, and
And how long were you in jail for?
I think I did about 3.5 years.
How was your time there? Did you feel like you learned anything, or did you want to come out and change, or
Oh no,
were you just more?
no. I didn't even feel like a bad person.
Right. Didn't learn too much, clearly, if he's back in there with 84 years. And clearly got back involved immediately. Well, I don't know about immediately, but at some point with the gang culture. Because he said that he received a call from a gang member saying that the witness was this, that, and the other. And he eventually deleted the witness. And this is what he's in there for. And I'm still interested to know how he feels now. I'm going to assume that, again, the clip that we had seen earlier where he alluded to the fact that he wants to be the big dog on the yard is him referring to the mindset that he had when he first entered prison, not the mindset that he has now. I'm going to assume that right now, him, as many other individuals that these individuals here between the lines, shout out to them, interview, he has changed his mind, changed his tune, and has had certain revelations and has changed his life. That's what we can all hope for. We aspire that individuals who committed certain crimes and that they mature, grow, and can come home and then thus be assets to society. And many individuals who have been in prison have done just that. So don't give up on them thinking that these individuals have nothing to offer the world or nothing to offer society because of whatever indiscretion they may have had. Sure, they flouted the law, but the individuals who make the law flout the law. Don't judge.
Until I got out of prison. When I went to YA, I felt like I was just surviving. I'm a kid, I don't know what to do. I had no structure in my life. I used to try to go to school, sometimes not go to school. You go to school, they're asking like, where are your parents? Like, who signed you up? And then it's like, oh, I'm gonna drop out. You wanna play sports? You have to go to the doctor and get a physical. So it's so much you can't do as a kid without a parent. And then when I got to YA, it was just a bunch of kids. We're just being stupid. We play sports. We fight all the time. Frivolous. Get to prison, it's different.
This is all the same crime from the stealing,
So
the robbing,
from the robbery.
because you got transferred to the prison.
You just
when you're
they
16.
kicked us out,
Yeah.
and so now this is just one. I've never been out.
Oh,
so
you haven't been out since then?
No, I've been out now, but I'm saying from this point as a juvenile, I go into YA, they send us to prison, and then I get out when I'm an adult.
How old were you when you got out?
I got out at 18.
18 years old.
30 days after my 18th birthday.
And what was your mindset then when you got out? What'd you go back to?
Well, I didn't go back to anything because I left as a kid. So I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to live. So it's just straight survival mode again, but different because now I'm an adult. Now I have actual thoughts. And that was the thing about prison. Prison prepared me to be a criminal. So I didn't go into YA as thinking I'm a criminal. I got out thinking I'm a gang member and a criminal because this is what they talk about. Prison was all about building worse people. So they send you around people. I'm in here for a robbery without a weapon. No one got hurt. But you put me in a cell with someone who's killed 2 people. And he's 20 years older than me. And he's been in prison for 20 years. And all he's talking about is how to be a better criminal, how to train you up to this. Oh, you need to do this. You need to learn how to make weapons. You need to learn how to protect yourself. You need to be hyper vigilant and watch this. And so you get out, and it's one thing to be around it. It's different to literally be trained up to be a bad person. And it's the complete opposite of prison today.
Right.
So
the reformation now. So then you were basically trained to be a criminal when you got out at 18 years old. And how did your life unfold then if you had nowhere to go and no one to talk to?
Well,
What did you do?
Yeah, and that's very true. A lot of individuals go to prison and they sharpen their skills, whatever it was that they are in there for. If they're in there for fraud, they figure out ways to be better fraudsters, if you will. If they're in there for robbery, in there for an unaliving, some individuals have been known to read books, watch documentaries, programs on how to get away with certain stuff, talk to other inmates who were in that field for a long time and had gotten away with it for many years. You may say, well, why speak to someone who was in prison? Apparently they got caught. Well, he may have got caught for something else. Or it can be that though the individual got caught, he got away for 30 years. And he only got caught because of this one slip up. And once you figure out what that one slip up is, then you just say you vow to never do that, but you get the rest of the game that the individual has that caused that individual to stay out for 30 years, free of detection. But most individuals go to prison and they're trying to turn over a new leaf. These individuals want to come home. They are educating themselves. They are strong, stringent in their workout routines, in their studies, and they want to redeem themselves. And many of them have already redeemed themselves. Now, everyone goes in there looking to sharpen their criminal skills, but some do.
Yeah.
Weirdly, my life actually went better than anybody could expect it because I got out and I'm a big person at the time. I lift weights. I get out and I meet my who became my wife. I met my first wife. Don't. No, I won't say it. She was actually a very good person. She was way more grounded than me. But I meet her and like my life goes much better than it would have went without her. It was like instantly, she's like, oh, you don't have nowhere to live? Oh, you're moving with me. It's like, oh yeah, we're just a couple. And I'm instantly in a relationship now. A few years later, married, kids, I work, I go to school. I'm like doing pretty good. But then I have the second life where I'll go out and hang out. I start reconnecting with the people who I grew up around after I ran away. And they're also doing bad stuff. So you got the good family life, and then you have this side life where I'm still doing stuff, but
You were doing stuff for what? Like what kind of stuff
just
were you
like
doing?
I would sell weed still. I'm still out here like partying, and so I'm essentially living like
Double life.
yeah, I won't even say it is a double life essentially because I'm doing good over here, but my relationship is like a kid relationship because I don't have relationships. I missed the high school experience. So I have an extreme relationship where it's just like, I always tell people the worst thing that can happen to a human is to be taken away from the life experience they need to regulate themselves. So my first intense relationship is as an adult, and now there's kids involved. So everything's super extreme. And it's like with me, I'm like, I don't want to go back to jail, so I'll just leave.
Yeah.
And I'm not understanding, every time you leave, you're leaving
Your family.
here to fend for themselves. But I'm not making that connection. I'm just like, I'm avoiding, I'm not harming this person because I'm leaving. And, it took me a lot of years to understand, no, that is harm because you're not there.
What were you, like 20?
Yeah, and the bigger problem, as is with most of these sort of situations, is straddling the fence, if you will. You can say that that's what this individual was doing. And most individuals that do that, it ends badly. You have to make a choice. On the one hand, he was going to work and to school, had gotten married, and had children. Sounds like a progressive human being, a man, a family man who takes care of his home, his wife, and his children as he should, provides and protects for them. And then he goes to school and works. Doesn't sound like a gang member. And then on the other hand, as he said, he's going out into the street. And he's starting off by selling a little marijuana, a little Snoop Dogg and then it escalates from there. We'll see what ended up happening. Well, we know what happened. He's in there for offering a witness, if you will. Rest in peace to that lady. He said it was her, it was a female apparently, who was a witness. I guess perhaps someone who was going to snitch on him. A witness to the case, a witness to whatever. Let's see, I don't know. But you have to make a decision. Either you're in the street, and I would advise against that. That's for sure. This is where you're going to be for the rest of your life. Or you're not. You at home with your wife and your kids. You are at school, you are at work, and then you're back at home with your wife and your children, protecting them, being with them. Damn the homies on the street, damn the so-called friends. Where are they at right now? They're nowhere around, guaranteed. They're not about to be there. They're not looking out for you. Did they get you a lawyer so that you wouldn't end up with 84 years? Did they do anything? No, I'll answer that for you. No.
Something, 21, 22?
20 at the time.
Yeah, and you're a child.
Yeah.
And those years that you were in prison, like, they didn't develop you as a man in any sort of way. So you're basically the same kid that got in there at 16 with a family and now a dad and a husband.
Yeah.
So then what happened with the other life that led to the second crime?
So it continued to escalate. So I'll say this about the other crime. All of these things that happened to me growing up, I didn't understand that I had childhood trauma until I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
So I never saw any of this stuff as bad. I never saw anything that happened to me as like a big deal. I would just like go through life. It didn't feel like it was affecting me. I didn't know it was affecting me. And so I didn't know I had all these character defects that led me down this path. Yeah. And one of them, I didn't have a reliable moral compass. Like, I always thought I was a victim. I never thought about other people. I didn't respect people's property. I didn't respect them as a person. And so all of these things are coming out. I'm impetuous, which is impulsive to violence. I'm just everything you can think of. I don't have empathy for other people. I never take responsibility, like, ever. I'm not accountable for anything. And so I'm the perfect person to commit a crime at this point, because here it is. I've been abused. I think abuse is normal. I've been bullied. I think bullying is normal. I've been in prison watching adults do adult things, learning adult things. And I think the stuff they talked about is normal.
Wow. And you were a father. So how do you feel like you were as a father?
I felt terrible. Like,
well, at least he can reflect. At least he knows that some of these things that he were doing were not good, that he did not have. I mean, he's self-aware. Prison, of course, will do this. You have plenty of time inside of these cells to reflect, to meditate, to read, to study, to figure out where it is that you went wrong in life. Clearly, he's done a lot of that. And at least he has the wherewithal to say that he had no empathy. He didn't care about people. He didn't care about people's property. Didn't care about people's feelings. He normalized being a bully and being violent because this is what he knew growing up. I don't think that it is an excuse. I believe that it is accurate. If this is what he experienced in his childhood, being burned with irons, then yeah, this sort of angst will come out, will express itself in the most ugliest of ways if it's not directed elsewhere.
24 years in here, and I think about it all the time. I abandoned my kids. Like, I didn't just commit a crime, I abandoned them. And it's just like, when you start talking about like that aspect of it, I think about like what a father is, and I look at it now through the lens of my heavenly Father. And like, now I have this spiritual relationship, and I think about like from reading the Bible, studying the Bible. I got a degree in ministry last year.
Oh, wow.
And it's like unbelievable how off I was. Like, I should have had a connection that changed me, and it didn't. And that was because of all the things that were wrong with my childhood and how I never addressed anything. And what is it? What happens when you just have this pain and all this stuff building up? It has to come out. You have to have an outlet. You have to deal with it, or it just explodes out.
Yeah, of course. And so then, tell me about the second crime.
So my second crime is I'm in here for first degree murder, arson, and unlawful discharge of a firearm. So my second crime is literally just trying to cover up someone's crime.
Just tell me about that day.
That day, I get a call from another gang member, and they're telling me, oh, I found out who told on me, and you know who it is, and they're like giving me this code language, and I already, from this lifestyle, I already have in my mind, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what is expected of me to do. And so I go out and murder Charlicia Nelson, who was going to testify against my friend.
And how did the murder go?
I go out to her house. I tell her I need a ride somewhere. We're talking about.
Dang. Wow. So it wasn't his case. It wasn't a witness against him. She was a witness against his friend, was going to snitch on his friend, had witnessed the case, I suppose, was going to testify. The prosecution will subpoena you to court to testify whether you want to or not. I don't know if she was a willing participant or not, but this had nothing to do with him, apparently. Gave his life up for his so-called friend. Going to be interesting to see where his friend is at now, what his friend has done for him after catching his case, if his friend had gotten him a lawyer, if his friend has been visiting him and supporting his family since he's been in there for 24 years, or did the friend disappear after you took someone's life for this friend? Of course, we're not thinking about this at the time. He's deeply involved and engulfed in gang culture. This is what the rules are. These are what the rules say. Somebody's a snitch, somebody's a witness, somebody's a rat. Take care of it. Get them out of the way. Make sure that he can't come to court and testify. It's probably his older friend, his older homie, the hierarchy, his big homie that called and said, we know who the witness is and you know what it is too. Go take care of that. And he did. This was clearly back in the days, because nowadays nobody cares. Nobody's about to off someone for you. It doesn't matter who you are. They're not about to take anyone's life for you and go to prison for the rest of their life. It just doesn't happen like that these days. But this individual, he did. And as we can see, he knew the victim, because he said he went over there and asked her for a ride. So she knows who he is, and he knew who she was. And apparently she gave him a ride. Let's see. It went bad from there.
And I'm telling her, will you just leave? I got money. I got a place for you to go. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. I didn't do anything wrong. You guys are the criminals, blah, blah, blah. It is just like, it's just like, when I say blah, 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 it's not being like disrespectful. It's like the talk I really didn't understand, because she was high. And at the time I did ecstasy a lot, so I'm high. And that's literally like, she was kind of incoherent. And we go to a area and I'm just like there's really no choice. Just leave. You don't have to testify on them. This will go away. This is all good. And then she just says, no, I'm testifying on him. I'm testifying on you. And I don't care. You guys are all going to jail. And I just like lose it. Like what? Like, you did half this stuff with us. And again, that blame, that victim, and no accountability. And then I shoot her.
And where were you guys?
We were just at an apartment complex. We're in the parking lot of an apartment complex. And then so I leave from the area we are is not a lot of people. It's just the apartment complex is more across the street. And I just continue just like I've always done in my life up to that point. As I make things worse. I try to hide it. I go try to get rid of the car. I go try to do all the stuff I saw on TV. And it's just...
This is what you did?
Yeah. That's how I get the arson. I try to destroy the car.
But you burned it?
Yeah.
How far away from the crime?
a completely different location. Like I drove somewhere and it was like by a shopping mall, and just like
Was she in the car?
no.
She stayed in the parking
Yeah.
lot, and then you went to go burn it somewhere,
Yeah,
and you ran away.
yeah. Why it wasn't that fast of a sequence. Like the first thing that was, I left the area and I freaked out. Like just completely. Like I called my wife and I told her, I said, I just ruined my life. I don't know what I did. And then I called my mom and I was like, I don't know why I did this. And it was like, I don't want to say it was remorse at that point. It was because I was so scared.
Yeah, it was an awakening. It was reality coming to life, hitting them hard in the face, in the soul, in the chest. In that moment, it doesn't take long once you've done something wrong, once you've done something you were not supposed to do, once you've done something life-threatening, something that threatens your own life in one way or another. It doesn't take long for it to start crashing down on you, for you to realize that you just did something that threatened your life, that threatens your life. But I'm sure he did make that call quickly. I see the remorse or the recognition of from many individuals soon after a horrific crime. Soon after. See individuals taking someone out and then going on Facebook Live. Oh man, I just killed my baby mama. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. She can't either. What do you mean? You weren't thinking about that when you did it, man. What are you talking about? We have to have control of our emotions. So I don't know. He said he got upset because the lady said that she was going to testify, told him to his face that she was going to testify against him and his homeboy and put them both in jail because they were criminals and needed to be in jail, she said, what have you, to paraphrase. He says he lost it and pulled the trigger on her.
And I don't think I knew what remorse was, but I instantly knew it was wrong. It didn't take me any time to know it was wrong.
I bet.
Like the way I felt was like, why did I do this? I couldn't believe I did it.
Yeah.
And I started talking to a few people like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, oh, you gotta get rid of this. And I'm like, okay, let me go do this. And I started going to that, let me try to cover this up. And it didn't last long. That was like, especially in the mind frame and it, I wish I was more of a accountable type person. So everything happened the way it was supposed to. I was arrested pretty fast and taken.
How did you get caught?
Someone called, I think a day or two later and told them where I was and was like, we seen him on the news. We know where Sadi's at. You can come get him over here. And they came and got me that morning.
And then what happened? You said you were covering up another crime.
No, that crime.
Yeah.
I was trying to cover it up, like get rid of the card.
But the testimony that you didn't want the girl to say anything.
Oh yeah, there was one of my friends called me from jail. He actually got murdered. So because of what I did, he got out of prison. And 6 months after he got out of prison, he was murdered in the exact same way of the crime I'm in prison for.
Wow. Talk about a twist of fate. Some people are going to, of course, say that this is karma. You can't make this stuff up. You got to be careful what you put out into the universe. The energy that you put out there, you will often receive back. Karma has no timeline. It does not discriminate. It is an equal opportunity executioner. Karma is. Wow, look at that. That's crazy. The man called home from prison. I was wondering why he's saying all this, especially once he said the dude was in jail. I'm like, man, they can figure out who it is that made that call to you and had you unalive this witness. You telling on him or what? Well, he's gone now. So, damn, that's crazy. he could feel responsible for both deaths. He certainly feels responsible and is responsible for the witness's death. He said as much. He says, this is not alleged. He's here admitting this, that he shot her. But because he did shoot her and took her life, thus she could not testify, the dude was freed. He got out of jail. Wasn't in prison yet, apparently. Was in jail. Headed to prison as she testified, potentially. But she was taken out, so he beat the case. It worked. Hey, man, take her out. Okay, took her out. So I can get out of here. No case. No witness, no case. Take her out. Took her out. They let him out. 6 months after he get out, he get took out. He said in the same way that she got took out, which I'm assuming means he got shot up, got gunned down somehow, somewhere. Wow. That's crazy. Did all that to get out of prison, took someone else's life, had someone else's life taken to get out of prison. And then you get out of jail, not to go to prison, whatever, get out, and then you suffer the same fate. Because you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's why.
What? Because of you?
No.
What do you mean
he
because
just,
of you
no.
got out of prison?
No, he got, because the witness against him is now deceased. He gets out of prison on his crime. He doesn't get convicted. And as soon as he's released from jail, he gets murdered. In the exact same way.
And what does that make you feel?
Today, I look back at all of it, and it just shows me how horrible of a person I was in that moment in time, and it makes me feel sick.
Yeah,
because I remember someone told me
feel
they
about
said,
something
"You're
like
the
that?"
reason he's dead." And I talked to that same person 20-something years later, and they were like, "I want to apologize for that," and I'm like, "No, you don't apologize for that. You should apologize for not adding on the actual victim of that crime that I'm in here for, Charlize Nelson, the Nelson family, and all the other people I victimized by taking this person off the earth." And that's how I look at it now. Back then, I thought I actually felt, I don't want to say good, but I felt like I had did what I was supposed to. Every rap song says if someone tells, this is what you do. Everybody in prison says if someone tells, this is what you do. Even from a child, you don't tell on your brothers. You don't tell what goes on in the house. My whole life had been built on you don't tell or there's a consequence. And then in the gang life, the consequence is death. And then I lived up to that.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I don't feel the way I should feel, the way I feel today. Like today, I'm sick about it. I wake up every day feeling like no matter what I do in life, I'm never going to be able to do enough. I can never bring the Nelson family, their daughter, sister, niece back. And that's just like, I remember someone asked me, how do you live with it?
Yeah.
And
it's hard to live with something like that. Wow, this man is going through some turmoil. Not that we should have sympathy for him and his situation over the victim. I'm just saying this has to be tough for him as well. The victim passed away at his hands, died, was brutally murdered, didn't just pass away. At the direction of whomever else, his friend, gang member, who had called and made this call from jail on a recorded call, nevertheless. And then he gets out and gets killed. Again, he probably feels responsible certainly for the lady, for the witness, but I'm sure he feels culpable for his friend losing his life. That it was his actions that freed his friend to have his friend's life taken. Because if not, his friend would have still been in jail, either fighting the case or been convicted of the case, but at least fighting the case. The friend at least felt like the witness had something against him and can get him life in prison because he wanted this witness taken out. So this person had some sort of information. Oh, yeah, this guy here is going through it. He seems to be holding up, but he's had a rough life from childhood, as we've heard, to this juncture here. It hasn't been good for this man.
You find a way to do. You find a way to honor them through your life.
Right. And if you're able to speak to them, what would you tell the family?
I wrote them a remorse letter, and I think just sorry. Like anything more, when I think of the words, like I've wrote it 10 different times, and I read it and I just don't feel good about it. I feel like it just doesn't express the way I feel. It doesn't express the loss that I know they have. It doesn't express like just how sad I am that I was ever that type of person.
Yeah.
But more than anything, it doesn't express the sickness I have over not being able to return her to them.
When did this sickness start to come into your body? You said you didn't feel that way at the beginning when you first came into prison. When did you start changing?
I know exactly when I changed in prison. So when I came into prison, the judge told me I'm gonna die in here. My lawyer told me I'm gonna die in here. When I got to prison and people heard I had life, they told me, "Oh, don't trip, homie. We just gonna ride it out till we die." That was like everybody is telling me I'm gonna die in prison.
And what did that make you feel?
Like I'm gonna die in prison.
And you were okay with that?
No one's okay with it. But if you think about they tell you put the streets away, put everything out of your mind. This is your new world. Mm-hmm. And so you start living. And I said, you know what?
That's a bit different than some of these interviews we've seen, some of these interviews we've heard, and many individuals that I've spoken with. For those who don't know, for those who may be new to the channel, the Inside Story here with me, Damian Porter. Please subscribe to the channel. I've done over 30 years of incarceration in the California penal system. And most individuals there, if not all, maintain hope. These interviews we've seen, individuals have 4 and 5 life sentences, have life without the possibility of parole. Life without the possibility. There's not even a possibility. Life without you don't even have a possibility. You have life without the possibility of ever being paroled. And I've still heard these individuals say, I'll be out one day. I'll be home soon. I mean, talk about holding out hope. They be holding out hope. And then I just played for you all not too long ago. Individuals who had life without parole and had gotten paroled. Life without. Many lifers have been getting paroled, but even individuals with life without the possibility of parole, what we would call the LWOP, a kickstand, they used to call it. Or just the L appears, the kickstand, life. How much time you got, man? Kickstand. Jeez. But they still held out hope and they're coming home. So I don't know. I'm just surprised to see or hear him say what he just said, that he knows he's going to die in prison. Regardless of what the judge told him, regardless of what the lawyer told him, regardless of what everyone on the yard told him, regardless of what the devil told him, I'm still surprised to hear him say. Now, it's one thing to just face your reality and not delude yourself. You know your situation, so you can say, I'm never coming home. I'm not about to sit in here and go 20 years without getting a write-up and all this, hoping that the parole board lets me go. They're not going to let me go. I'm not going home. So I'm going to do whatever it is that I do in here, be violent, be mischievous, because, hey, who cares? I'm never getting out. But most individuals, again, they maintain the hope. And he doesn't even have life without parole. 84 years of life, 84 years and plus 8 months to life is clearly a long time. But it's not life without parole. Man, you have a chance to come home. He's been locked up 20-something years. They let individuals out. He's in California. I'm assuming he's from Sacramento. I don't know. Don't give up hope, bro. You can get out like anyone else.
If I'm gonna be here, I want a name in here. Then I want a legacy in here. I want to be like the guys I met when I came from YA. I want to be the guy that gets to tell people what to do and gets to be looked at as the big homie. And that was my dream in here, is I want to be the baddest dude on every yard I go to. And I just started trying to live up to that, like everything I did. But the change came. We had a drought in California in like 2015. And I'm in the shoe because I committed another crime in here. I attempted to harm 2 other men. I stabbed two people in here. And some gang stuff. And I'm thinking I'm living this horrible lifestyle. I'm like, this is my whole life. This is what my life is gonna be. And so I go to, I'm in the shoe for some years.
How long?
It was a few years. And while I'm in there, everybody back there, it's all the worst of the prisoners. It's all the bad people are back there, and they praise all this stuff that's going on. And it's just, it makes you feel like you did something good. And that's why I say that's what prison was. Prison was just people trying to do horrible things, be horrible people, because that's what the prison environment. And so this drought that was going on in 2015, they said that we couldn't, we had to reduce the time we shower. We did a protest. I got in trouble. And I don't even know if my daughter would remember this. My daughter tried to come visit me. I hadn't seen her since she was an infant, and she's 14.
Whoa.
And they got turned away.
Oh.
And I haven't had a visit. I haven't seen my mom. I haven't seen anybody since they're like babies. And I get a letter like a week later, and it said, "Dad, can you be good for just a little while so I can come see you, so I can get to know my dad?" I'm sitting in a cell by myself, and I read that so many times. And I was just like, I gotta do something different. And it didn't happen. I was the same person, but that was the change in my heart. I knew I had to do something different. And they released me probably 6 months later, and I went to a horrible prison. I went to New Folsom. They sent just a bunch of horrible people there, and people are getting killed all the time. And like, no one has hope. And then one day we go to a retreat they have this group called Kairos.
Yeah.
And they come in and it's all these different religious groups. And like, people are just like being how they are in here. They're like not really respecting the moment. Like, people are just being outwardly disrespectful. And it's one of the first time that Kairos has been on a maximum security level for a prison. And while we're going through this, they're asking us these questions and people are speaking. And I never expressed like anything, any emotions the whole time I was in here. And I remember a guy asked me, he said, "How do you feel about your crime today?" And I just sat there for like 10 minutes. And then I was like, I feel sick about it. And I think that was my moment. Like, wow, like I never thought about it in those terms anymore or before. And then that was it for me. It was like, after that, the guy prayed with me. And I used to go to church as a kid, but he prayed with me, and he was like, just go off to the side and say your own prayer. And I didn't know how to pray. Like, I said that in my prayer, like, God, I don't know how to pray. Like, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I'm worthless. Help me. If you want me to stop being a bad person, show me how to stop being a bad person. And man, just it happened. Like people started getting, the people who came into my life after I prayed, just like people don't understand what it means for volunteers that come in here, to have people come in here. And it started there, but it wasn't to the level it is at this institution. But just we had people come in there and tell us,
keep
man,
praying, man. That's what a lot of individuals do. You know, we've heard this with these interviews. I've ran into many individuals who have changed their lives in prison and become very religious, pastors even, you name it. And many of them are sincere. They are religious people now. They have given up their life. They have given up their lifestyle. They don't want any parts of this. Yes, it took them to go to prison to get there, but everyone has their own path. As long as they get there, and a lot of these individuals are there, they don't subscribe to the culture anymore and the destructive lifestyle that the culture has to offer.
First mistake. You're not just a bad person. You did a bad thing. And just to start teaching us, and I start having these relationships, I'm starting to read the Bible and I don't understand it. And they're telling me, keep reading it. And I keep reading it. And then as I'm starting to do better, I start getting educated a little bit. And I think that was like the step. Like I took a class just to get out of my cell. And someone explained what magnitude mean. What magnitude and then what insight meant. And they start saying all these concepts. And I'm like, yeah, I never would have just came to that on my own. Someone had to teach me these concepts. But the biggest thing that happened in this group was the person had us act out our crimes from the victim's perspective. We had to write down everything we did and we had to act it out. And it was the first time that I took responsibility for my crime. Like, I'm not in here because I caught a case. I'm not in here because I made a mistake. No, I committed a crime. I made a terrible decision as a young person. Then I didn't take accountability. So I'm in here just living, creating more victims. Yeah. And I left that class with a kind of like a new way of being. Like, I'm not gonna create another victim. I went to the yard November 16th or November 13th, 2016. I went to the yard with a letter and I passed it out to gang members, letting them know that I'm no longer going to be a participant in violence. Wow. And I started apologizing to people I had misled. And the administration thought that I was going to be assaulted. People stopped hanging with me. People stopped talking to me. I started walking around the yard by myself. And I would go to church and people would always say, oh, you're going to church because you're scared. And I would still have that unresolved stuff in me where I want to be macho or whatever. But I would just be like, yeah, I am scared. I'm scared of being the person I used to be. And I look up one day and I just got accomplishments. Like I've got a degree now. I got an AA degree and I got 100 self-help certificates and I facilitate all these classes and I'm looking at all this support I got. My entire family is in my life. I don't know why.
Your daughter?
Everybody. I'm a grandfather now.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know why my kids love me. And I just think it's God.
Of course.
I just think it's God because like my daughter now, when we talk, she always says, I still want you out here. I still want my dad. And then my sons, they're, I got twin sons and a daughter. Oh, and it's, the saddest thing is when I look at them, I think, man, that's what I took from the Nelson family. It makes it hard for me to be happy for that.
Well, at least you're reflecting upon it. At least he still has the emotional capacity to reflect upon his horrific crime decades later, that he still feels for the victim and still feels for the victim's family, that he still thinks about them and what he took from them. That says a lot. And I don't know this man, but it doesn't seem to me like he's faking. You can just catch someone's sincerity or lack thereof. And I believe he had said early on that he had a doctorate or something in ministry. I mean, he's taking this stuff serious at 100 self-help certificates and all sorts of other degrees. And it's one thing to just talk it, but he's walking it if he's getting these degrees. He's in there walking it. The man said he took a letter out there to the yard. This is dangerous. This is why the administration said, I don't know, this may not end well for you. Taking a letter out there, indicating in the letter that you're done with all of this, you're done with all of these dudes, you're done with the game banging, y'all leave me alone. And put it in the form of a letter and gave it to him and walked off, basically, whatever. Hey. You see what he said after that? He was left alone, walking the yard alone. People didn't even want to be bothered with him. You're not tough and you're not in there trying to take someone else's life, then you're not even worthy of being hung out with.
Even though I am. But yeah, that's I don't know, that was kind of the struggle. But once I got started, my life is just different now. Like once I got past the fear, and that's the thing, it's all fear. Everything we do in this lifestyle, I'm afraid I won't be accepted. I'm afraid I'll be looked at as weak. I'm afraid I'll be harmed. I don't know who I am without gangs. I went for a year not knowing who I was. And I remember watching TV and they were talking about mental health days and I laughed about it. Like, who's taking a mental health day from work? And the pastor, Earl Smith, he's the pastor for the San Francisco 49ers, and he was the pastor for the Golden State Warriors. He comes in and he runs a group, and he says, I know you tough guys don't want to talk to a site because we weren't allowed to on the level 4. You can't go to mental health. You can't talk to anybody if you need help, or you'll get assaulted. And he brings.
But you'll get assaulted?
Yeah, you're just not allowed to. If you're a part of a gang, you can't be mental health. Like,
so then there's they can't even change in there.
Well, you can now, but level 4s are still the same. They shun people who have mental health problems. Mental health people have it the worst in here. They get assaulted a lot. It's horrible. So now that we've accelerated, like I'm a peer support specialist, I'm a youth mentor, I understand it now. But I understand it because of what I went through. And this guy brought an actual psychologist in, they're a part of the class. So it's like 6 of them and they're talking to us and we're like having therapy, but not knowing it.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not going to call this, he explained this to me later. Like, I'm not calling this therapy because it's not. We're not in a confidential setting, even though he put us off where no one could hear. And it just was, he gave us a space to talk.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to this person and we're going through it. And they're like, what is your life story? And I'm explaining the stuff I went through. And they're just like, you do understand, like, this is abuse. This is this. And they're putting a name to it. And I'm like, yeah, that stuff didn't happen to me. That stuff happened to other people. And they're like, no. That everything happened to you. Everything. Made a list of it. And once I start dealing with this stuff, all this other bad stuff start falling away. The moment I start dealing with, why are you impulsive? I'm impulsive because I don't know how to think. No, I do know how to think. I'm impulsive because I'm not taking that moment to think. I'm just reacting. So then
that's just true for everyone, right? Once you address these situations, once you deal with them, confront your demons, you have a better chance of solving these issues, of resolving them. But when you suppress them, act like they do not exist or like they are inconsequential, then they come up and hurt you and hurt your progress and hurt your life. You can't deny what it is that you're feeling or going through. You have to address it at some point.
Start responding. Once I stopped being impulsive, it all was connected. I'm not impulsive. Now I realize, oh no, you're making bad decisions. You have to be responsible for that. Once I'm responsible, now I'm accountable. I need to be accountable. And so now I just stopped doing all the things I would do. I stopped trying to justify and rationalize, and I changed my whole narrative. No, I'm in here because of my terrible choices. I was in here because my moral compass wasn't reliable. Now, how do I fix this? I have to have a way of living. I have to have a certain standard that I can't break. And that came with just having that relationship with God. Everything I asked him for when I didn't know how to pray, he gave me. And he gave me more than I could have imagined by giving me the support by giving me my family back, by changing my heart. He made me understand. Like now, it's funny because I end up going to seminary school. I get a degree in ministry.
That's so cool.
And the funny thing about it is, I read that scripture, and I remember that you would be old things have passed, all things have become new.
Yes.
And so I'm like, how could old things become new? And now I understand. It's not that you go back in and you're reborn. It's just that he renews your spirit. He
renews your mind.
Renews your mind. He renews who you are.
100%.
And so now I live in that truth. I'm a different person.
100%.
And so I can never go back.
Ever. I can relate because I also got saved 2 years ago, and I was like, I was Catholic. I believe in God. I prayed, but then it's very different when you have a personal relationship with him, and he takes you out of the muck,
Yeah.
and then he renews your brain and your mind, and you can never be the same. So now I feel like you have an even bigger purpose than you can ever imagine while you're in here.
Yeah.
Do you know if you're gonna get out, or if you can work your way down, or what's that look like for you?
I still have an extremely long time to go to board. So I've been in here 24 years. I don't go to board to 2039. But the funny thing about it is, I'm not stressed out like a lot of people because I do have a purpose. My purpose is to spread the gospel.
Yes.
I'm in a place now. They switched this place up, and all of the people who came in, we got so many people addicted to drugs. We got so many people struggling. We got so many young people who are where I was, thinking that they're not worth anything. They're thinking they're not smart, thinking they can't change, not knowing that they've been through trauma. And so now we just have a different way of living. We have a community of people who just live amends. We actually even created like an Instagram for it, Instagram living amends. And we just get prisoners from here and other places, and they just talk about being a service. Like, I don't care about your certificates or your accomplishments. How are you helping people? I thought a community was the physical place you grew up. And then as I start going through life, I realized, no, it's the people who share your values. It's the people who you can help out. It's the people around you. And it changed the dynamic of prison.
Well, isn't that the truth? Your community is where you're at, really. Your community is what you make of it. The people that are in your heart and your soul. Seems like this individual here is indeed doing good work. A degree in ministry, and he's a youth mentor, and he's mentoring adults there in prison and trying to get them to turn the corner. I mean, his earliest parole board date, just to go to the board and be considered for parole, is 2039, as we heard. It's 13 years from now before he can even go to a parole hearing. That's crazy. It used to be individuals going to parole hearings every year, every 2 years, and certainly every 5 years. You go to a parole hearing, you go and they say, well, go to school and bring back this certificate and do this and do that, and then we'll let you go. Or we'll consider letting you go. Then they send you back. No, you didn't do this. You didn't come back in 5 years. But 13 years, and who knows the last time he's been aboard, they're leaving him without a lot of hope that he's going to go home at some point or go home soon. But he still seems to be have a calm demeanor and a positive attitude, which is important.
When I came in, it was, how can we build the worst human ever created? And that's who was praised. And then somewhere along the line, it just shifted. And so now when you look at prisons, it's funny because I told my mom, the biggest lie or misconception people have about prison is that everyone in here is bad and that they're incapable of change. And what it is the majority of people aren't even sophisticated, because they use these words. I remember going through court and not understanding, why are they saying we're sophisticated? And they think everyone's a part of a criminal organization. And you come in here and you meet most of the people, know they're people who were addicted to drugs. They're people who were young and just did something impulsive. And that's not to say there's not bad people. There are some bad people here, but the majority of people are just human. They just did something that was ignorant, and they are capable of change if given the right tools. And that's what we try to do around here. The majority of us now that are just committed to living amends, that's it. We're just of service any way we can be.
And what's your legacy gonna be? And what do you want to tell the youth?
I'll say my legacy would just be a servant of God. Now that I've changed my outlook on life, I actually have joy even in here of something I never thought I could have. And people they're always like that. They're like, why are you not down? Why are you not complaining? How could I complain when I'm still being blessed with life? How can I complain when every year I look up and just more positive things are happening? I'm able to help more people. And so having a purpose, it changes everything. Having an identity,
Sure
what I would
does.
tell you, the youth, especially any youth thinking about joining a gang, is your identity cannot be somebody else's identity. Because that's what we do. People give us an identity. They gave me a name in a gang and said, this is what we do. And that was my identity.
Yeah.
And
True.
then when I stopped being a gang member, I had no identity. I'm just walking around. I'm walking a track every day for like 2 or 3 hours. And I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I don't know anything. And today is different. When you know your identity, my identity is in God. My identity, no matter where I go, I used to be afraid to show my Bible or talk about Christ or any of that. I walk around with it every day. Every time I see people, I'm like, hey man, there's salvation here. There's redemption here. You can get rid of this shame, this baggage. And I look at people who are still trying to be gang members and I'm like, man, that's a rough life. Like to not know who you are, to feel like you have to live up to someone else's expectations, to do stuff that you know is wrong, that you don't feel good about. That's the gang life, doing stuff that you don't feel good about. And then you start living, for God, and it's weird.
Because it's not easy doing the right thing all the time. It's easy to have fun and do all these things and maybe go down the wrong road,
But that's another misconception. Doing the right thing is actually easier than doing the wrong thing. I used to think that you couldn't have fun sober. 11 years sober, don't do anything in it. And I never thought I wouldn't smoke weed. I never thought I wouldn't do these things. And so now when I deal with people, I facilitate secular and non-secular addiction classes. And so when I'm talking to people about it, they're like, oh man, I do it because I'm bored. I do this because I just to escape. And I'm like, no, there's better escapes. But I remember when I was in that stage and I'm like, I can identify with this. And it's just something about it. It's like the world says you're always going to be an addict. I prayed to God, I don't have an urge anymore. I don't feel that way anymore. And I started looking at having that holistic change where I'm learning stuff, I'm going to school, I'm doing the self-help, I'm being spiritually grounded, I'm having that relationship. I think the overall being just well-rounded and everything, it prepares you to just go out here and just live in that identity and be different and just do the right things. But just like helping the youth, like right now, I'm a youth mentor here and I see the kids who come in and I'm 20 years older than them. And so I'll play basketball with them and I'll do stuff, but I won't preach at them. What I'll do is I'll talk to them in a way where I'm not telling you anything, but I'll give you some reasoning. Oh, does this make sense? If you get into it with an officer, you come here, you need to get through the gate. You yell at the officer. What do you think is going to be? What do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to let you through the gate? And you just like kind of give them these pros and cons of everything in life, but let them make their decisions. And as they start making better decisions, they start to see, oh, I'm not stupid. Oh, I can do the right thing. And that's what I would just tell young people, what I actually tell them now. Love yourself. Like if people say you're different or weird, thank you. You're priceless. If I was like everyone else, I'd just be a copy. Why would I be a copy when God made me a one of a kind?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your words and your truth and your time.
Yeah. Shout out to that brother Saheed. I believe he said his name was. Y'all can probably go check him out. Y'all perhaps wanted to. Let me find it. Get his name right here. Real quick. There you go. All right. That's his name right there. Sadi Coleman, California State Prison, LAC, it says, which is Lancaster State Prison. I've noticed they do a lot of the interviews there at Lancaster. And so there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Shout out to that individual, Sadi, and the interviewer there from Between the Lines. Shout out to them. And continue your good work interviewing these individuals and bringing it to the public. And hopefully we can help. the public, help the youth see what these prison systems are about, how one can get led to prison, being in these gangs and making certain mistakes, and how you should conduct yourself once you're there in prison if you happen to go. But the goal would be, of course, to help individuals to avoid prison. Shout out to this individual here. I believe that he's very sincere, actually. One of the most that I've seen, one of the most sincere, and has a lot of potential that I've seen, because he's living it. He's been sober for 11 years. Bear in mind, he's been locked up for 24 years. So even while in there, of course, there's everything in there that you can get your hands on. You can get your hands on anything in there behind the walls, any sort of drug. And so he was in there apparently still using for 13 years or so of his incarceration. But then for the past 11 years, he said he never thought he'd be able to stop smoking the gunji, but he doesn't mess with it no more. 11 years. So he's living it. He walks around with his Bible. And he admits at first he was afraid to do this. He didn't feel strong enough. He felt people speaking about him, judging him or whatever. He's been strong the whole time. To go out there on the yard with a letter, letting them that he addressed to the gang members, letting them know, I'm cool, I'm done with this. And to stop banging in prison, it really takes a lot of heart. And then, he clearly made his way down to Lancaster, which is more of a privileged type situation, and has been doing work there with all of these certificates, degrees in ministry, and leading organizations and groups, and secular and non-secular groups, hoping to get these individuals off of the street and with a different mindset. So he's doing the work. And I'm sure that this sort of work has changed people, has helped people's lives. And certainly individuals have looked at him and said, man, he was so-and-so from such and such. He was an OG from such and such. And he had the strength to come out here and say, I'm done with that. Look us all in our eyes and say he's done with it and has lived it. He's done with it. He hasn't been gang. He's no longer a gang member. In spite of people talking about him behind his back, like he said, to walk the track by himself, he was lost because his whole life, his whole identity has been this gang, this faction right here in prison, his homies. He just told them, y'all not my homies no more. I'm on my own, y'all on y'all own. So now he walk around the track and he don't know what to do. Normally I come out and I go hang out with my homies and I'm involved in this politics and that politics and with my crew. Now I don't have a crew, I'm on my own. What are the politics? What do I do? But he found his way, stuck with it, and is continuing this on. This is not just prison stuff, because again, individuals go to prison and they don't change and they don't even try to change. Individuals are violent, they stab, they use drugs, they still have a criminal mindset. They're still looking, as he said, to be tough, to be the toughest individual in the yard, to run the yard everywhere that they go. They're not looking to redeem anything, to redeem themselves. So the fact that he gave that all up and redeemed himself and stopped gangbanging, shout out to him. It's a tough thing to do. I know that for a fact. So that takes a lot of strength and conviction. He's living it. He's walking it. He's not just talking it. He's walking it, apparently. That's important. And this man has probably saved many lives and will save many more. We'll see what happens with the situation. He still has a smile on his face in spite. Shout out to the woman that lost her life as well, of course. The victim. Tragedy all around. Again, the individual that set this all in motion gets out and loses his life months later. Because you can't escape justice one way or another. What you put out is what you get back. What you do unto others, others will do unto you sooner or later. That's just how the world works. We may think we're getting away with certain acts because we are in that moment, but it'll catch up with us. It always does. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.